Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Groundhog Challenge. A lot of you guys are going to be catching this on the replay. So if you are, welcome. If you are seeing this as a first time and you've never seen my YouTube channel, welcome. I am going to go through how to find motivated sellers is what the groundhog means. If you guys didn't necessarily catch that, it is of course. Um so there's going to be a lot to unpack. I was supposed to be on here yesterday. I do apologize. My power went out. I haven't had that happen in a very well, it happens because of the storm. So I think I've lost power like 3 times since I've lived in Texas. So I'm not really quite used to that just yet. So I didn't even know that there was really a storm coming, to be honest. So I do apologize. I was 2 minutes from going live and then poof, there it went. So we're here. So I want to go through a couple of announcements first. A lot of you guys are going to be watching this on the replay, but I do want to go through a couple announcements. The first announcement is that going live, going on a link right here. Join the gratis community. Gratis means grateful, and we're going to go through that a little bit later. But of course, there is. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there is yard work going on right now outside. We're just gonna keep rolling. So this is the gratis community. It's free to join. All you have to do is create an account with, it's called Circle. I love this because you guys can see it. So you guys can message each other directly. And then this is the members courses, but it says start here. So you can introduce yourself on here, which is really cool. So you can introduce kind of who you are, what you do, all that good stuff. So so that's really what is cool. So like if when you guys go on here and introduce yourself, say where you're from, where you're located, what you do, what you're looking to do, what you need help in, and then somebody can hop in and help you. So that's really what this is for. Like for instance, the discussions, like anything that has to do with what you are and what you're looking to do. And then we have the events that are coming up. That is this groundhog. So anything, this is so annoying. I'm so sorry, guys. So this is all the events that are coming up. So I'm doing today, tomorrow for so Wednesday and Thursday, and then I'm going to be doing next week is a little bit of a weird week. Usually I do Mondays and Tuesdays. Next week it's Memorial Day weekend. However, I am flying out the next day and I didn't book my flight the way I should have because I didn't really know that this was going to happen. So I'm going to be doing it on the 31st, which is a Wednesday, and then June 1st, I will be live streaming. Next week, I will be calling agents directly. If I might be calling some tomorrow, depending on how well today goes and how much I can get through. If I can, I will try to call agents live on this channel. But I have done that pretty much. I try to do it on a weekly basis. So I try to do like one where we just talk about real estate, and the second one, I'm actually making live phone calls. So that is going to happen. That will happen if it's not tomorrow, it will happen next week. I lost a day, so I apologize. Finding the Groundhog event will happen once a month. So it's something to build towards. If you are new and want to bring other people on, there is an opportunity for that. I'm not going to get into it. But the more that you can build for the event and be on these and learn something, the better. Every single week is going to be something different. So it's going to be different until the Groundhog event, which is something, it's going to be similar every single time. It's for new people. Finding the Groundhog is for brand new people. If you are just getting started in this business, this is where you want to be. If you are a seasoned investor, to be honest with you, this is going to be really basic for you. So cool. So, and then you have the resources. So if you have a business, I would say where you're located, um, and just give your business a shout out and what you do, all that good stuff. I want you guys to network in this space. That's why I created it. That's exactly why you see multiple discussions. The one thing I do ask of you guys on this is to not post anything deal wise. Where you're going to post your deals are on the Facebook group, which is here. There's a free, gratis Facebook group. That is where you guys can post any of your deals. I want to make sure I separate the two. One is for just like networking and getting to know each other. This one, oh, sorry, I didn't share it. This Facebook group is strictly for deals. If you want to post something else than deals, that's fine, but I really do not want to post anything on my circle for the deals. The deals go on the Facebook group. So that is I really want to make sure that you guys understand that, because I want to make sure they're separated and people don't get confused on like X, Y, and Z. Circle, which you can join. The link is here or in the description. Circle is for anything networking wise. Facebook is for anything that you want to do for the community. Like any deals that you want, essentially, you can put it on the Facebook group. All right. Going back to the circle. I am going to get like sounds on this. My brother is going to help me. So when I go to Colorado, I'm definitely having him help me with the sounds, because I think it would just be more entertaining for all of us. So there is a Gratis coaching. Gratis is my company I've had for about 2.5 years now. Gratis means grateful, for if you guys wanted to know, and we'll get into more of that later on. There is a mastermind. I am starting. Stop. I am starting a. Sorry, that's my cat. I am starting a coaching session here on May 31st. So if you guys want to join, you would have to book a call in order for us to get on that. So that is everything for that. Announcement wise, that's everything. Hopefully I didn't bore you guys too much. I apologize. So that's all I'm going to share with that. I might say something a little bit tomorrow, but other than that, you guys are more than welcome to go on to join the community. The mascot is a goat, because we'll get into all that eventually. You guys will know there's a lot happening. So circle, join the community. It's free. You can network on there. If you say something that goes sideways, I will say it will get deleted. There will be monitors, but I created that Facebook group for anybody who wants to post deals. And then this circle group is for anybody who wants to promote their business. All right. So since we lost the day, we are going through basically day one. Day one is going through the Gratis community, which we just did, the free resources. So when you first get started, I know a lot of stuff can be expensive. This is why I created this, so we don't have to do you don't have to spend a lot of money. I'm trying to get it where you guys don't spend any money whatsoever. That is the goal. The goal is for you guys to spend as little money as possible. All right. And then we're going to go through the 5 steps to acquire properties. That's why you guys are all here. So we are going to go through that. I've lost people. They all dropped off the face of the planet. All right. We're going to make this as fun with stories. There's going to be a lot to unpack here. If you guys do, please. Oh, I don't have my chat. Hold on. Comments. Okay, you guys can comment below. I'm sorry. Hold on. They don't make this easy for you. I'm trying to change the banner. Oh, here we go. Hide. Okay. All right. So we're going to go through the 5 steps to acquiring properties. This is going to be very, very basic, but I think it needs to lay the groundwork. Whether or not you are going into commercial real estate, whether or not you are going into single family real estate. I will say that if you've never done a deal, commercial real estate is not where you should start. You should start at single family residence. All the commercial guys that say you should start in commercial, I promise you, they started in single family. Thank you. So I need to make sure that I'm focusing. I have a lot of messages that always come in, so I do apologize in advance. I do still operate a whole business. Okay, so 5 steps to acquiring properties. Number 1 is cancel your friends. I know that's a little harsh. It's a little bit like right in your face, like cancel your friends. There's a reason for this, okay? And if you hang out with me long enough, you will know that I hang out with only certain people, and you can call it for what it is, but if I want to make X amount of money, then I need to go hang around those people who are making money. All right. I haven't drank in almost 8 years now because I am Asian. If you guys don't know, I am Japanese. They don't like being called Japanese. I'm actually Okinawan. Okinawan is an island off of Japan, but I can't drink regardless, even if I did try to drink, which I have. My dad's a beer distributor, but I would say that if you are going out every single weekend and going to the bars and hanging around those people, that's what you're going to attract into your life, right? I went out probably 6 months ago and I'm like, why do people still go out? Like, I just don't understand. Why do people go out every single weekend? It's the same thing. If I went out 6 months ago versus a year ago, it's literally the same thing. I don't get it. Here's what happens. I'll already tell you what happens, right? You go out, somebody gets really intoxicated. The last time I went out, the lady was going to the bathroom on herself. Somebody falls over at 9 o'clock because they've been drinking for the whole entire day, essentially. And you just, I don't understand it. Like, you guys do the same thing every single time you go out, every time, without fail. So if you want to change that, then you need to do something different, which means getting rid of those friends. Now, they have maybe a place in your life, but to be honest with you guys, I don't have drinking friends. I don't have any drinking friends. If we're not talking about money and we're not talking about something, either my family or we're talking about business, there's really no place that you really don't have access to me like that. So canceling your friends is a huge thing, and you really need to make sure that you really take an inventory of who you're hanging around. If you want to be a millionaire and do all that stuff, you need to hang around those people. those people who are go-getters, those people who want more out of life. That's really what it's about. The second thing I put on there is choose gratitude, because I catch myself all the time. I caught it myself today, like, oh my God, I have to do this 3 hour live stream, like X, Y, and Z. And it's not, I have to. It's, I'm grateful that I have this opportunity where I can share everything that I've been going through for the last 7 years for real estate. I will say that I don't want to make any excuses for myself, but I am a female in this business. It's an extremely male dominated business. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, you're just a female in this business." I know that it's not necessarily directed to me in my face, but it does happen. And I don't want to make any excuses, because I don't I think that I'm just as talented and just as good as any other guy that can do this business. So, I am grateful that I've had the opportunity and that I've had a lot of guys, girls, everybody respect me in this industry, but it's taken a lot for me to get here. It's taken 7 years to get to this point where someone takes me seriously. And the people who I surround myself with, which I would say it's probably like a good 10 solid people that I talk to on a daily basis, those 10 people support me and want me to win just like I want them to win. So it's not just it's a give and take type of relationship. So you need to choose your environment. If you want to, hang out with the people who go out and party, then that's what you're going to kind of attract in your life, right? So making sure that you hang out with those people. When I did a couple coachings for Airbnb, and I always told people to write 50 things that you are grateful for every single day for 7 days straight. If you do it for 7 days straight, then you can't even get mad. Like, there's nothing that can like shake you to your core for that. Because if you choose gratitude every single day and you're grateful for this, you're grateful for that, you're grateful for this, like you literally can never get mad. If you talk to I want to call my cleaner one day on these calls and ask her, have you ever seen me mad or upset in the last 2 years that she's been with me? And she was like, no, I don't even think I've seen you like flinch one time, because I know that life is so short. It is so freaking short. And every single time I watch those dang murder shows, you realize how short life is. And there's no reason to get mad. There's no reason to kind of get to that point. And I never understand those people who get mad. And actually it's kind of to my advantage in real estate, because this is why. The person when you get on the phone and you negotiate with the seller, and the first person to get mad is the one who loses the negotiation every single time, right? So if you get on the phone and the seller gets really PO'd, that is leverage for me. I'm like, okay, you just open the floodgates, and now I can really, I wouldn't say mess with you, but now I can really kind of like I know kind of like where to like make sure that I can get this deal closed. It's really a negotiation tactic for me as well. It benefits me. So getting mad is never, ever, there's no reason for it ever. So that helps me. It helps me in my day to day. It helps me in my business, because if I get mad about this one thing, but then this really great thing happens, it takes away from the really good thing that happened yesterday when the power went out. I mean, what can I do? Getting mad about getting the power is trying to get the power back is not nothing. Like, there's going to be so many people who are like, oh, well, she didn't pay her light bill. That's not really the case. That's not what happened. But go ahead and think that. That's all good in the hood, but it's not what happened. Bella, I'm so sorry. Bella. Oh my God. Okay. Number 2. So we cleared out the friends that are not doing anything. All right. My family, they know that I'm always on my phone. I was on my phone during Easter time, okay? They've accepted it. They've just accepted who I am as a person, and it is what it is. If they want my time, I give them quality time of hours on end, but they know that I answer my phone and I have my phone on me at all points. There are some times where I will take the whole day and you won't hear from me, but um I know my limits. But I will say that I would say I'm an obnoxious phone user. I would consider myself an obnoxious phone user. So now we are going to get into the real estate aspect of this, which is the first step into real estate is setting up your company. You do not you cannot do real estate without a business, an LLC of some sort. Here's why. I know a guy in Stockton, California. He had 75 properties. He owned them. He had mortgages on them. He had tenants in them. If he had 75 properties and the majority of them are multifamily properties, what happens when a tenant slips and falls on his properties? And they're like, "Hey, we're going to sue you." Not only you are too much. Not only am I going to go after you personally, but I'm going to go after you and all 75 properties that you have worked so hard for. So hard. You've worked every single day, maybe for the last 5, 10 years, you've been slaving away and you've been working hard on those properties. And one person is going to come and slip and fall on your property and they're not going to just take you personally. They're going to take you and all those properties that you had in your personal name. I can't even believe I've seen multifamily guys, I've seen commercial guys have it in their own personal name. First of all, you don't get any tax benefits that way. That's not really how it works. Right? And we're going to get into a little bit of that today, potentially. That's number 1. Number 2 is that you don't want to be personally, that's English, I promise, liable for that. Okay? If he had it in an LLC, he doesn't really have any issues because he is now, he can separate them. So typically I like five properties in one LLC because if something were to happen, they can only go after those 5 properties. You have to separate the assets. If you have 75 and you're worth X amount of money and you take in X amount of money, your assets can go away so quickly. And you don't want that to happen. I am so sorry. I do not know what's going on with Bella today. Bella, you need to stop. Maybe we're going to have to switch it up here. Okay. So, in order to be in business, you have to have an LLC. How you structure your LLC, that I cannot tell you. I am not a financial advisor. I do not give financial advice. That is up to you. You can talk to somebody who I like to go through for LLCs. It's called incfile.com. I've used this on my last 3 LLCs. This is who I go through. Some people, if you need a little bit more advice on your LLC, I would actually reach out to a professional who understands how to do the tax purposes and all that. If it's a single member versus a multi-member, more than one member, that you would probably want to get more financial advice on. There's limits to what I can put on the internet. I don't know. Okay, so INC file. I like them. Here's the reason why I like them. Number one is because they have it where everything is on a portal. So if I lose any type of documents, it's all on the portal. And I love that. So that's what that is. Okay. So first one is you need to get an LLC. Number one. All right. Number two is you need to open up a business checking account. This is not a personal checking account. They're going to ask for your EIN number. I'm actually opening another one. I have to open another checking account. There's an EIN number, and they're going to ask maybe for articles of incorporation. It just depends. But typically you need to go into the bank and ask them what exactly what you're going to need. So opening up a business checking account. The third thing is getting a line of credit. And I'm not going to go into business credit so much because we can really get into the weeds with business credit, but just know that you have a DUNS number where that DUNS number will tell basically whoever it is. Basically whoever it is, the lenders, there's an actual number, like just how you have a personal credit number, the DUNS number will tell you whether or not you are good to get funding. I get calls constantly saying that you've qualified up to $25,000 for our business line of credit. A lot of times they're scams and I don't trust it. So making sure that I'm so sorry. This is what happens when you do this from your home. Bella's just gonna chill. She's just gonna hang out with us. So business credit is a whole avenue. It's it if you can get way more money in business credit than you can in personal. Why do you want to get a business line of credit? Because you can turn that money as well. You can loan it out and turn it. You can do a lot of things with it. So business credit is always good. It's always good to have money. Like, I don't know when it's never a good time to not have money. If you use it properly, right? If you don't go to Vegas and put it on black, but if you actually go and use it correctly and make money from having a business line of credit, that's why I like it. All right. Step number 4 is something that I wish I did way sooner in life. I promise you, like, I wish I did this like 3 companies ago. Okay. And I still have most of my, I have 1, 2, I have 3 companies current, maybe I have 4 companies. Some of them I wish I did like I wish my Gratis company 2.5 years ago when I started Gratis, I did not have a bookkeeper. And guess when I did my bookkeeping on it? I did it at the end of the year when I thought you were supposed to do it. If you start your company in February and you have February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, November, December, that's 11 months that you haven't done bookkeeping for. Okay. Don't wait to the last minute to do your bookkeeping. My mother, a lot of people know this, but my mom is my bookkeeper for the last 2 years. She told me that she's not doing my bookkeeping. So I do have somebody else right now doing my bookkeeping that I do pay. I did pay my mom too. Well, I didn't pay my mom. I paid another bookkeeper. She was the person in between kind of helping me. But I was lucky in the fact that my mom did my books for the first 2 years. Now I am paying for bookkeeping and it's expensive. But it's worth it. All right. It's worth I just had a guest cancel. I had a guest cancel and he lost a lot of money. So the 4th thing is bookkeeping, making sure that you keep your books correct. And A lot of people, you need one specific to your business. So if you have a real estate investing company, you need to make sure it's for the bookkeeper understands how to do real estate. Okay, that's the way it goes. Stop. She's acting up. She's making me look so bad right now. Jeez. Okay. So now we got through setting up your company, right? You need an LLC, you need a business checking account. You can start with the business line of credit. I do have someone I typically go to. Business credit, I go to business. It's called Credit Nerds. There's a couple of them that I know. I know the owner for this one. That's why I recommend them. If you also have bad credit or you need to do stuff with your credit, they also do that as well. They fix your credit, your personal credit. Even though I will say that I'm going to show you ways where you don't even have to use your credit. Nobody's ever going to check it. So those creative strategies are definitely something that they don't check credit or any type of credentials. All right. But this is where I do business financing. It's good for business. There's also another one called Credit Suite that they do business. So I go through my LLC. I go through, what is it called? INC file. This one I go and do business credit, business and personal funding. The more you guys can get a line of credit or some type of money is always a good thing. I go to Credit Nerds. There's also Credit Suite as well. So there you go. Let me see if this is streaming. Okay, cool. Why is it when I get on a live stream, everybody wants to call me right now? Everybody. Okay, so let's go back to here. So we have the business set up, we have the checking account, everything's ready to go. Now, the third step in this whole process is choosing your market, right? And a lot of you are going to be on this call and like live in Timbuktu, and you're like, well, I want to start in my own backyard. Let me tell you guys, you want a place that is growing, you want a place that is thriving in business. So maybe it's not in your own backyard, and maybe you need to go to the closest city where you have stuff moving and shaking. Okay. I will tell you, you don't want to be in Timbuktu and trying to find a tenant, and you can't find a tenant because there's not enough people and the population growth isn't there, and there's no investor that has made it or has done a lot of deals where they're like, oh, let me go in some random town in Texas, because there's a lot of like little towns in Texas. So I would say that in order for you to be successful in this business, you need to pick a place that has 500 people or more. So if your town has 6,000 as the population, you need to find the next closest place that has 500 people or more. And then I'm going to get the question of, well, I don't want to be in a huge city because there's so much competition. Let me tell you guys something. I'm going to be real with you for a second. There is no business out there that has zero competition. My dad is a beer distributor. He does energy drinks. If he had zero competition, then you would think everyone would just buy that energy drink. If I go to a grocery store and I see where there's a Bang Energy, which is one of his products that he sells Bang, and then maybe there's an Alani, and then you have, how many different energy drinks do you see going into a grocery store? Just because there's multiple different types of brands of energy drinks Does that mean one of them is going to be less successful than the other one? No. Competition is a good thing. You know why I like competition? Because it weeds out the people that should never be in business. Maybe that's a little harsh for you guys to hear. You know, the people who are successful in real estate, they show up. They show up every single day, and they either are talking on the phone, they're consistent with their advertising, they're consistent with their marketing. Here's something. When I was talking to my editor for my reels, I do Instagram reels and YouTube reels. I started when I first had the conversation with my editor, I said, I only want to do 3 reels a week. That's it. Just 3. I want to be able to record them and just do 3. Well, they did very well. And then I was like, okay, maybe we'll do like 5 a week. Okay, let's do that. Let's do 5 reels and see how far it goes. Well, it got better. And then you get on like this dopamine high. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about the reels that just like it's like you're like, "Oh my god, I'm getting views and people X, Y, and Z and they're talking to like they want to know more." And then I was like, "Okay, I'm going to do a challenge where I challenge myself for 30 days. 30 days that I'm going to post a reel. If you guys don't know, it's like a 30 to 60 second of like you filming and talking or you doing something. I'm going to post a reel for 60 of every single day, less than a minute reel where I put value in that reel and it's good. I grew my channel, like grew it so like a lot more than if I just posted 3 times a week, right? And is there competition with me posting every single day? Not really. The big guys do it. The big guys who are on Facebook or on Instagram that I see, like Grant Cardone, Pace Morby, all those guys, Ryan Pineda, they post 2 to 3 times a day. And I'm over here complaining about 3 times a week. And people are like, well, I don't understand this whole Instagram and YouTube thing. Like, you're not posting enough. It's about consistency. It has nothing to do with anything else but consistency. And then the moment you become consistent and nobody can touch you because you're consistent with it on a daily basis, you're making those phone calls on a daily basis, you're reaching out to sellers on a daily basis, I'm telling you, there's no competition for you. 0. So if you think going into a huge market because there's competition, like you've never met 99% of the people. 99% of the people, there's no competition. Why do people not get on this call? Because they're like, oh, I can get on to the next one. Okay. There's a guy, maybe this person is on here. There is a guy that I talked to a year ago. I talked to this guy a year ago. He has not done a single thing in an entire year. And I'm pretty sure he's on here potentially. In a year, you know what? I got on a call with him for a second time. And I was like, you spent an entire year doing nothing. That's my competition. If I'm doing something every single day, something's going to happen. But if I'm not doing anything, how am I expected to have results? It has nothing to do with how big your market is. There's no competition. I'm telling you, there's nothing. A lot of people, I moved to a big city for a reason. I moved here because A, the real estate was cheap in Houston, Texas. B, there's competition. There's a lot of it, but there's a lot of areas, pockets in Houston that are really going through a whole development stage, and I'm here for it. Houston reminds me of when I first got started in real estate 7 years ago, because the prices of, like, for instance, I purchased a property for $155,000 for for a 3-unit, $155,000. Those prices remind me of Sacramento in 2015, right after the market tanked. Right? Because 2009, it hit rock bottom. So it was rebuilding from like 2009 all the way to 2015. So in that time frame, there wasn't a whole lot of activity. And by 2015, we kind of started going back, and I got a property for a duplex for I got it under contract for $120,000. So this reminds me of Sacramento, California 7 years ago. That is one of the reasons why I moved to Houston, because it's still affordable. However, their taxes for property taxes are like another freaking car payment, let me tell you. It is not fun. All right. So, number 1 is that you need to have a market that is over 500,000 people. The reason for this is you want to make sure that you are in a growth market. Growth. It's growing. Houston is the top growing market. It was a strategic plan on my end, okay? And I suck up the humidity here. I just suck it up. It's hot, guys. It's hot in Houston. I told my father that you should literally go into a 400-degree oven. It would probably be cooler than Houston. All right. So we're going to go to the census map and show you where the growth is happening. I really think I need to get better internet. The reason why this is all happening is because my internet. All right, where I live, you guys, I will say this. We do not get good internet, and there's probably going to have to move in order to get better internet. So I'm going to look into the internet portion, because let me tell you, this is not working. All right. So, sorry. I didn't mean to do that. What is it doing? My cat finally decided that this was not for her. Okay. I'm telling you, my internet is something else. Why? Here we go. I gotta look into my internet. This is driving me nuts. Off. Okay. So the blue is where there's a lot of people. All right. So can you see my cursor on this? No. So Montana, Wyoming, parts of Colorado. I don't want to purchase real estate in those areas. And for me, I don't purchase real estate in states that are not landlord friendly. So if they're more tenant rights, which is California to a T, if you guys have ever owned any type of property in California and tried to put a tenant in there, you will know that they favor the tenant. Texas, they're landlord friendly. Arizona, they're landlord friendly. Florida, they're landlord friendly. Those are the ones that I want to be in. Georgia, landlord friendly. North and South Carolina, landlord friendly. I don't want to be in New England, which is New York, Vermont. I don't want to be in those states. I don't want to be in New York. I've lived in New York for 3.5 years. I don't want to own real estate in New York. Stay away from it. I do. You guys can go and do stuff in New York. I personally don't. All right. I want where it's a landlord friendly state. Colorado is becoming less and less landlord friendly. That's starting to turn into a tenant right state. All right. I was thinking about purchasing some real estate in Colorado because I have family that lives there, but I don't know. We will see. So I want to be where there's people, right? So if you can see Texas, Houston is one of those. Dallas is one of those. Dallas can get a little bit tenant friendly, I would say. So a big one is San Antonio, Corpus Christi, not so much populated though. I will try to stay away from California as much as I can because their taxes there, let me tell you guys, is something else. I will stay away from Portland, Oregon. I will stay away from Washington. Those are all friendly states that I will stay away from. All right. So if you were to bring me properties, you need to understand, here's the thing. You need boundaries in real estate because if you don't have boundaries in real estate, you're just going to go for everything and it's not going to work out to your favor if you don't do your research prior to you actually going out and doing real estate. So you need to know what boundaries you have. We call it a buying criteria, a buy box. What will you buy and what won't you buy? You have to have some type of limitations on it. If you are trying to find, one single family property, what does that look like? Is it a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet going for X amount? Like you need to have all that and we'll go through that. But a lot of people moved out of California and they went to a couple different states. They went to Colorado, they went to Texas, they went to Tennessee and Florida. A lot of people from New York came down to Florida as well. So there's a lot of population growth in certain markets that we didn't necessarily see before. So all of that takes into consideration. But I'm going to get somebody who says, Claire, I have a property in Wyoming and I want you to look at it. And I'm going to tell that person, hey, that's great. That's not where I buy property. Okay. Right now, I am really solely focused on Houston, Texas. So if you have property in Houston, Texas, but will I go outside of Texas? It depends. It depends on what it is. It depends on where it is. So I won't say no, but if it's in any of Montana, Wyoming, North Carolina, North Dakota, South Dakota, all of those areas, I will not purchase real estate in, and I will try to not even touch Colorado, and I probably won't touch California. All right. So I'm telling you guys, I want to make sure that we're all on an even level playing field. It is very basic what I'm talking about. Will we get to the fun stuff? We shall. All right. So I'm looking for growing populations, new jobs, new restaurants. Needs to be around the energy and activity. I don't know if there's a saying in the restaurant industry where when you walk into the restaurant, there's like this buzz that is happening. That's kind of what you're looking for in a city. You want something that is vibrant. You want something that is really, really up and coming, or just everybody wants to live there. And people are like, well, there's so much competition. I'm telling you, if you are consistent, there's no competition. None. Zero. Why do I believe this? Because I've seen it firsthand on a daily basis. All the time. Happens all the time. All right. So, number 2, set up your company. Number 3, choose your market. Number 4, choosing your investor ID. And we're not even going to get, I don't think we're going to get to 3 hours today. We might get to an hour and a half because this is a lot. So number 4 is choosing your investor ID. What does that look like? The first one is farmer versus a harvester. Which one are you? Are you a farmer? Meaning that you go out and you talk to everybody that you could possibly want. If there was a saying back in the day when I used to go business to business selling makeup out of the trunk of my car, there was a saying that went like this: if you are a breathing human being, I was talking to you. Okay? So, what does that mean for the farmer? The farmers are the type of people who like to go out and they don't mind talking to people. They go out and they plant the seeds, they call the sellers, they call the agents. They are so excited about talking. Typically, these people are social butterflies. The other part of the versus the harvester is the person who's kind of quiet and reserved, and they get the leads from wholesalers, or they're going to talk to agents because they don't have to negotiate with the seller directly, right? And it's a little bit more structured, I would say, because these people are typically engineers where they're very shy. They're extremely shy about all of it. And I will say, guys, I know this is going to sound really weird coming from me, but I am an actually really shy person by nature. If you put me in a room with other people and I don't know them, I will go up potentially and say hi, but I am so awkward. I am so freaking awkward. Unless I know you, it's very hard. I will open up, but I'm like kind of like an onion, right? It's not happening all at once, okay? I got a lot of layers to me. So if I come off a certain way, I apologize. That's not my intention. I'm a really shy person by nature. I know that's going to be a shock because you're like, you do YouTube channels, you speak every single day basically when I do Instagram and YouTube and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm telling you guys, I really am an introvert, and I just have some really big goals that I want to accomplish. And the only way that I know that I'm going to accomplish them is by putting myself out there. So that is the reason why that I get up and I face the fear every single time. Getting online, doing anything, is because I know that I have some big goals and I've gone through a lot of stuff in real estate, and I want to share my experiences in real estate because I don't want people going through the same stuff if they can avoid it. And there's so much information out there on YouTube, and and where do you go and watch stuff, right? Where do you go and like actually know what to watch and what is relevant and what is not? And so that is the reason why I share. It's not always easy for me, but I make sure that I put myself out there because maybe anybody who is watching this, like, hey, I don't know where to start. I don't know how to get started. Like, can you help me? That's why I do this, is because of the person just getting started. I understand what you're going through because I have been there. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know how to start. And that is the reason why I do this. All right. The farmer goes out and they create the opportunity. A lot of the times I've created opportunities out of thin air. It's just poof. I found the seller and I have found the money and I've put them together. It came from a private money lender. For instance, I found an off-market property in Sacramento, California. Actually, yeah, I found a property off market in Sacramento, California. I negotiated everything, got the property under contract, and guess how much money it was? It was $422,000. Did I have that money? Did I know where I was going to get that from? No, I had no idea. But I still went out there and I found the money. And the reason why I found the money is because it was a good deal. Here, I'm going to have to like get a shirt that says this. If it is a good deal, somebody will invest. If it's a good deal. Most people know how to run the numbers, especially private money lenders. They will ask you a lot of questions. So they will know if it's a good deal, they will invest. And I want to show you guys all of that. So if you continue to watch, I really want to make sure we break everything down so we're all on the same page. But if it's a good deal, somebody will invest. Period. End of story. So I had the property under contract. I didn't even know where the funds were coming from. I didn't want someone to even check my credit. I didn't want to go through any of that process. I wanted just to be an easy peasy process. And I actually found someone who had a trust. It's nice to know that you just have people that I went and networked, and I was going to all these networking events, and I found someone that actually does have a trust, and he loaned me the entire amount of money, but he held back $60,000 for the rehab budget. So then I had to find somebody who was going to basically bridge that loan, right? So that $60,000 came from somebody else, another private money lender. She's back. She's back. Would you stop? You are just a distraction. If you want to have nice furniture, don't get a cat. That is my advice. Okay, well then lay here. Okay, so where was I going with that story? So $422,000, he became a first position. He never checked my credit. He never checked my job history. What did he check? He wanted to know that I had experience doing fix and flips. So I had to show him everything that was on title, that I was on title for X, Y, and Z. I will say this. You're like, well, I can't do that. Well, yes, you can. You can find somebody who has experience where they have the experience and you don't necessarily have the experience. So you partner with them for the first couple of deals until you get the experience. Because some lenders who are asset-based lenders, they don't necessarily check your credit and all that stuff. They will check whether or not you have any experience, and you can partner with somebody who has experience. Now, what do you bring to the table that you don't necessarily have? Because you're like, hey, I'm brand new in this business. You need to bring value to that person. How do you bring value? You bring deals, you bring leads, you bring, maybe you have somebody who has private money. All that stuff is valuable to the person who has the experience. All right. So are you the type of person who's going to go create the opportunity? Are you the person who's going to go out and cold call? Are you going to go be the person who is creating that opportunity in order to be able to close that deal? Or are you the harvester where, hey, I'm not really good at talking to people, but I will get on the phone with a wholesaler or an agent? Let me tell you guys something about wholesalers. I've probably met like one or two wholesalers in my entire life that have brought me numbers that worked. What is wholesaling? Wholesaling is basically where you get a property under contract and you flip the paper. You've never owned the property. You flip the paper to a buyer and then you get the cut, right? So you're not a licensed agent typically. You just get the middle portion of it. I will say that wholesalers, I would consider them as entry-level investors. I would say 99% do not know what they're doing. All right? 99. I will put my money on that. I get deals where they're like, "Oh, well, it's under contract for $255,000 and it's worth $300 and it needs $65,000 worth of rehab." Where am I going to make money? You forgot to factor in that a lot of the time I have money costs. I have to hold the property. I have to pay the utilities. The contractor is definitely not going to be on time and under budget. I can guarantee you that. So it's not $65,000 in repairs. It's probably more. So and then I have to go and sell it. I have to pay an agent. I'm an agent, but what happens if I wasn't an agent? I have to pay both sides as an agent. So there's a lot. So it's not just 3 numbers in it. There's a lot more than just 3 numbers when you go and try to fix and flip something. There's closing costs, which is 2%. In order to transfer a property with an agent attached to it, it's 11% each time. All right? So you really have to make sure and factor that stuff in. So do I like wholesalers? You have about 3 chances to get your numbers right before I delete your emails. And I'm sorry if that's harsh, but y'all, it's a waste of time if I keep looking at your stuff and none of it makes sense. Okay. Next thing, agents. I've been calling agents on this YouTube channel. I will do them either tomorrow if we get through stuff for an hour. I think I called like 5 or 6 agents last time, and one of them answered because it was late at night. It was like 7 o'clock. So I will call tomorrow if we have time. Oh my God. I don't know what to do with this cat right now. I'm so sorry. She's never like that. She only acts up when this happens, and it's just driving me nuts. Okay. So agents, this is what my take is on agents, and hopefully I'm not rambling on this, but I do have a bone to pick with you agents out there. Please hear me loud and clear as an investor. First of all, let me preface this. I am an agent. I'm an agent for different reasons, not necessarily to buy and sell real estate. The reason why agents and investors don't get along is we don't speak the same language, okay? You are trying to get the highest price for your client, which I understand, and you are trying to make your commission at the highest price, which I understand, but us investors don't like paying high prices. So there's where the disconnect is, right? We're trying to get a deal while agents are trying to get a commission. And there's different types of agents out there. There's a guy named Pace Morby who calls them unicorn agents, which unicorn agents to me are agents that understand investing, and that they are willing to work with investors. I like those agents. I'm not talking to those type of agents. Those agents are cool, and we speak the same language. The other agents, for instance, I will tell you this. There was an agent that I called. This happens all the time. This is just one example. I called the agent on the phone, and the agent goes, all of my investors, they use cash. And he comes across like he knows everything. That is my issue with agents. They come across like they think that they know everything. And let me tell you, agents were never taught how to invest. They were never taught how to run the numbers. Even if you go into a brokerage thinking you're going to learn that, a lot of the time, what I have learned on these big brokerages, they're not even allowed to talk about investing, which is crazy to me. So if you are an agent, please hear me loud and clear. I love you. I still love agents. I will say that. But there is a huge disconnect between the two of us. Just know that. I wish that there wasn't. And I am doing these live streams to hopefully capture some of those agents that want to become unicorn agents, which unicorn agents are basically agents that understand how to invest. I really want to change the dynamic. I want to create a whole brokerage of agents that want to invest. But you as an agent need to be a little bit more open-minded about the different strategies, okay? So if the person who told me that all investors use their own money, it's not true. Most investors don't even use their own money. Most investors use other people's money, number one. most investors try to get a deal that's below market value. So if it's cash, it's still hard money. Hard money is where you don't it's very easy to qualify. You can have a crap credit score and some money in the bank, but hard money is just that. It's easy to get and it's short-term financing. So they call it cash, but it's not cash. There's still a loan on the property. All right. So for all you agents that know it all, I've been doing this for 7 years. And guess what? I learn something new every single day. Every day, without fail. And you know what I learned yesterday? That Grant Cardone, the guy who has $4.4 billion in real estate assets, does not know what the difference between a deed and a title. Riddle me that one, guys. Riddle me that one. You don't need to be smart, apparently, to be in this business. And you don't need to know everything. You need to take action. Action. Taking action. I am going to add sound effects to these streams, so I'm very excited about that. My brother is going to help me when I fly in to Colorado next 2 weeks from now. All right. Now, since we have our business set up, we have our market chosen. There's going to be some knucklehead on this live stream that's going to tell me, hey, I want to do it in Arkansas, Texas, because there's some random names in Texas. No, you're not going to do it in Arkansas, Texas. Okay. Pick a city, a big city. You got Dallas, you got Austin, you got San Antonio. I would stay away from Austin, to be honest. You got Houston, you have Florida. There's so many different markets than Arkansas, Texas. Okay. So we're going to choose a big market and we're going to create competition. You're going to choose your investor ID. Are you somebody who's going to go talk direct to the seller and plant those seeds and follow up and continuously follow up? Or are you going to be that person who goes and harvests the seeds and you're going to be talking to wholesalers and agents? And you're going to JV with the farmers. JV is joint venture, partnering. You create a JV agreement. You create a joint venture agreement between the two of us, between two of you. So if something were to go sideways, that's what happened. You have some type of contract in between the two of you. All right. The fifth and final thing we're going to talk about on this, which it says final thing, but this is probably going to take me 30 minutes to get through. So we're probably going to go until about 5:30, 6 o'clock is my guess. So if you guys need to go to the bathroom, if you guys need to take a break, go right ahead. I'm going to keep rolling with this. So number 5, you're going to choose how you're going to generate the leads. Some of you guys are good at cold calling. Some of you guys are good at going to meetups. Some of you guys are good at X, Y, and Z. This is what I'm going to say about choosing a lead generator. Do you have more time than money? Or do you have more money than time? That's really going to be it. Here's what I don't want to see happen. I don't want to see happen where you guys go hire a cold caller, go get a list. A list is going to cost you, depending on where you get it, $200, $300 to get the list. And then you're going to hire a cold caller that's going to cost you $500 to $1,100 a month. You're in it probably $1,500 to $2,000 a month. And I don't want to see your bank account drain because you decided that you were going to do this, but you were going to hire somebody out. I don't want to see that happen. There's so many ways to get lists. There's so many ways to be able to cold call. I have heard multiple times of Americans cannot be consistent with cold calling, and I would agree with that person because we can't stay consistent for anything. I don't know what it is. We just can't stay consistent. It's it is what it is. So hiring somebody outside of the US to be consistent and focus strictly on cold calling is a good way to do that. But you also have to realize that there's a budget, right? I'm sure you guys have budgets that you can't go past a certain amount to get one lead. So you have to weigh the options. You have to weigh the time versus the money. When I first got started, I didn't have a whole lot of money, but I had time. So I was able to go out and do bandit signs. Bandit signs are you write, we buy houses, or, you know, we buy houses for cash, or all that stuff. What I like for bandit signs, because I like to use creative strategies, is I will take over your payments. I love that sign. I never see it. It's very unusual. However, I will have to say bandit signs can get expensive. And I don't know where I found the money to do bandit signs, because I'm looking at it and it was like $500, $600, and I did not have that type of money back in the day. When I first got started, I had zero. I didn't have a job and I didn't have anything. What I had was drive. That's what I had going for myself. I knew that if I worked this business every single day, that something would pop off, because I just believed that. Because not did I just believe it, I took action to make it happen. So when someone says that I don't have the money, you don't need money to get started in this business. You need some action and knowledge. Knowledge will get you so much further in this business. And there's a saying that goes in real estate. What is the saying? The saying goes, what you don't know in real estate will cost you a lot of money. Just like the guy who has 75 properties and he owns them in his own personal name, if something were to happen, it would cost him a lot of freaking money. What he doesn't know will hurt him. All right? So, how to choose your market? I mean, how to lead generate and choose what you want to do. So, this one is skip tracing a lead source? Skip tracing is not a lead source. Skip tracing is finding the seller. This is okay, a lot of people think that if I do a bunch of random things instead of calling the actual seller because I'm too nervous to call the seller, if you do all the stuff that everything else but call the seller, that's not what this is about, okay? And I've seen that. I call it, how you should be counting the hours of FaceTime interaction or talking over the phone. How many hours a day are you talking in front of a seller? That's really what you should gauge it on. So if your goal is to get a property in a month, let's say, and you do it every single day and you schedule it out every single day, what does that look like for you? Right? If you have 5 hours on the phone with the seller, that means not the people who don't pick up. I'm talking about the people who you actually are on the phone talking to. If you have an hour of FaceTime interaction with people or on a phone call, that is what you can count of paid time. Did you actually get paid for it? No, but that's what you get paid for. You get paid for if you are talking to a seller. All right. All the other stuff doesn't matter, to be honest. Your car breaking down, even though that sucks, you're not directly in front of the seller talking to the seller. That's not paid time. Paid time is where you are actually sitting down and calling sellers and you're following up with them. If you want leads in this business, you have to have that face-to-face interaction or on the phone, whatever, texting. All right. That's what is considered paid time. Everything else is nothing. So until you pick up the phone, you don't have a business, unfortunately. Because when you don't have leads coming into your business, there's no business. All right? So, um there are different types of ways you can get a hold of sellers, right? Number 1 is direct to seller. You talking to the seller directly, either by cold calling, you pull a list. Tomorrow, we're going to pull a list. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about self-directed IRAs, knowing that you can roll over your retirement to invest it into real estate, because there was something on the news today, and I posted on my Instagram. The news said that there's Social Security payments are slowing down. I tell my dad this all the time. I say, Dad, there's nothing coming for us. He's like, yeah, you better figure it out somewhere a different way, because it's not coming for us. I'm 32. Now that I outed myself, I am 32 years old, but there is no Social Security coming for me. And even if I did take Social Security, how much money would I be getting? $1,300, maybe $2,000 a month for 20 years if I wanted to retire. Y'all, I don't know about you, but I don't understand it. You work. Here's the crazy part about the system. You work for 20 to 30 years. Even if you don't believe in real estate, let's just back up. Even if you don't believe in real estate or owning any assets, or you think this is a challenging business, let me tell you the alternative. The alternative is this. You go out and you work 20 to 30 years for somebody. I know somebody who was working for American Airlines for 25 years, maybe. Guess what? In 2020, when everything happened, guess who American Airlines laid off because they could not afford his salary or his hourly wage. American Airlines laid him off. 25 years this guy has been slaving away at American Airlines. And in 2 seconds they can lay him off. 2 seconds. And then what does that happen with his Social Security? What happens to his 401k? What happens? It all stops. Y'all, I'm telling you, I don't understand it. And those people who don't have houses, who don't pay mortgages, and you pay rent and you wake up when you're 50 years old with a rent payment, and then now you get Social Security. Social Security is $1,300 and your rent payment is $1,300. Where's that other money coming from where you go live your life? Like, what's the alternative? Why do you think I work so hard every single day? Because the alternative is being I don't want to say that word over, but the alternative is not getting a retirement. Y'all, you need 10 houses, 10 to 15 houses paid off free and clear. If you just bought one property a year, that's it, one property for the next 10 to 15 years, and then you decide that you want to retire, guess who's going to pay you? Those properties are going to pay you. And it's going to pay you a really healthy way. Okay, so say you have $500 in cash flow times 10. It's better than what $1,300, $1,500 you're going to get from the government, let me tell you. And then all you guys would rather go work than work on your own goals. Like, I don't get it. That's the part I don't understand. You will work for 8 hours for somebody else, but you will not, once you get home from your job, you will not take that 5 to 6 hours and work on something for yourself. That's the part I don't understand. My business partner, listen to this. He might be on this call. My business partner works a job, full time, has a vineyard. He owns a vineyard, has that full time, employees, staff. And then he has to deal with me. That's a full time job in and itself. I don't know how he does it. And we talk pretty much, I would say every day, probably not weekends so much, but pretty much every single day because we have business together and we have to talk about things. So, what is your excuse? And on top of that, I didn't even tell you guys, he has a whole family. And y'all are complaining about going to work and then afterwards, you have no time. If you wanted to do this business, let me tell you, you would do it. And that is the real honest truth. Show up for yourself is the only way. Showing up for you and building your business. All right, I got off a tangent because I saw that this morning and I'm like, you think that the government is just going to continue to fund Social Security? It's just not going to happen. It's not. And even if I did want Social Security, I'm getting less than $2,000 a month. You can't live off of that right now. I don't know where you're living for $2,000 a month in rent. Like, it doesn't happen. Or even your mortgage payment. All right. So, there are 20 different ways to lead generate. There's 6 different ways where they're direct to something. The other ways are just kind of, you'll see. I don't know how much time I'm going to, well, actually, no, I'm going to do pretty much all of this until probably about 6 o'clock. Hopefully I get through it all. All right. Number 1, direct to seller. We talked about this through and through. We're going to pull a list tomorrow. I'm going to show you exactly how I pulled the list. I'm going to show you everything. All right. That is going to happen tomorrow. Direct to wholesaler. I went on a whole tangent for direct to wholesaler. I promise you, I'm not going to go on that tangent again. Just know, do not rely on the wholesaler to give you correct numbers. Don't do it. Don't rely on the wholesaler to give you accurate information because a lot of the time they spend $1,500 and they take a course and they think that they know everything. Just like agents. No offense. I love agents. I like the right agent, okay? Hopefully none of you guys are offended by that. All right. You guys can drop a comment below too. Okay, so direct to probate attorneys. This one I like is because if you get a good probate attorney, definitely looking for one, always looking for a probate and trust attorney. Actually, you know what? I know one. I was talking to him once. I should call now that sorry, I need to call him tomorrow. There's a trust attorney that I was talking to when I got here, and I should call him. All right. A probate attorney is someone passed away, obviously, and they need to go through an attorney because if you don't put your house in a trust, which if you're on this call, you should definitely have your assets in a trust because if something were to happen to you, it's not in a trust, it will go to probate. And probate can be a very long process. And I've seen so many families break up because of probate, because of them going at it because they want money and it wasn't laid out properly. Probate attorneys are really good with, they can be a great source of just constant lead flow. And it would be off market. HOA attorneys. HOA attorneys are a lot of people. It's a very understated attorney and it's a very specialized attorney. A lot of people don't know that there's HOA auctions. Typically, if they're going to go for an auction on the HOA, the mortgage pays for it because the mortgage doesn't want to they don't want to typically foreclose if they aren't behind on their payments for the mortgage. If they are behind, then that's a whole different story. But HOA attorneys are great for people who are here's one thing about HOA attorneys that you should know. HOA attorneys know everything about everybody's business. All right, because they handle all of it, right? They handle the making sure that the yard is up to date. They know who's the a-hole in the community. They know who's who. They know who's having issues. I like to call them I call him the mayor. The mayor, there's always one, not the actual mayor, but I call him the mayor, the governor. There's always like one person in the neighborhood. Like in my dad's neighborhood, there's one person that we know that knows everything about everybody's business. That is the HOA attorneys. They know everything about everything. Transaction coordinators, I want to get really into this, but I don't want to I'm going to set this one aside because there's a lot there and a lot to unpack for a transaction coordinator. So I like to think, why did I just lock that? I like to think of transaction coordinators as like great resources, and a lot of people don't understand that business is a really I'm just going to leave it there. It's going to be part of another one called a connector. I don't have it here for some reason, but I'll do that at the end. Okay. Investor friendly agents. We kind of went over this. I don't want to rehash it. If you didn't, you can go back and look. You can go back and I went on a little bit of a rant today with the investor friendly agents. I will say that investor friendly agents, I love working with them. The non-investor friendly retail buyer, they're very hard to work with. Okay. That's all I got to say. HOA managers. So they work pretty closely with the HOA attorneys and they know everything about everything. All right. My uncle was an HOA manager. He no longer is a manager. They went and traveled the world. They bought a RV and they're traveling. But he would know when the auctions are coming up. He would know what properties are coming up. He would know a lot of stuff. So my family, I wouldn't say I come from a real estate family, but my family definitely has real estate. They know real estate type of thing. Direct to a divorce attorney. You could also pull all the leads for divorces. Divorces, unfortunately, are obviously a touchy subject for the people who are going through it. So as an investor, you almost have to play therapist as well. So investor, or if you're an agent that's listing a property, you will have to, if there is some type of asset involved, you will have to be therapists. So things that you don't think that you're going to sign up for as a business owner, you sign up for them. You sign up for a therapist. I always say that about my own. I've been blessed with really amazing people that work with me. So I don't have the line of like, okay, they're therapists type of thing. But if you have really emotional people, just know that you kind of have to address it and you kind of have to go with it and you have to kind of play into it. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. If you're going to work with emotional people and maybe they had a lot of memories in that house and it's an emotional time for them, just know that it's going to happen. All right. You get good in with the title and escrow officers. They can send you a pre-foreclosure list. I have Old Republic, and I will show you guys. Have it already pulled up. I have Old Republic title. Now, do I use Old Republic? Sometimes. It depends on the transaction. All right. I don't use them every single time. But you can go to your local title company. Here's a gem for all of you guys, since you stayed on for an hour and a half. Here is a gem for you. The gem is this. You can go to your title company and you can ask for what do they call it? A portal. You can ask for a portal, and guess what? You don't even have to be a real estate agent. you can say, hey, I'm an investor. I'm just getting started. Do you guys offer portals? That's the exact same. So in this portal that the title company gives you, okay, all you guys are going to think this is a property that is happening in my realm. This is a random address. So if you want to copy it down, it's listed for sale. And I just pulled a random address to show you guys. Okay. It's a random address. It's nothing that I'm working on. All right. Let's just make that very clear. All right. So I can say I have a property that's off market and I want to put it in here. I can search for it. All right. And it will give me who's the owner. And guess what? I don't even need MLS access. It timed out. Hold on. I don't even need MLS access. Now, if you want to, you can go to a real estate agent, an investor-friendly real estate agent, and they can pull stuff for you. But if you just want a quick shindig, that sounded wrong. I'm sorry, guys. If you just want a quick a pull of something to see if it's even worth your time, this is why I go to Old Republic. Now I don't know the address of that thing. Hold on. I'm just pulling a random address. This is nothing I'm working on. This is nothing. It's just a random address because I want to show you guys what it pulls up: the tax records. It pulls up a lot of stuff. It pulls up the owner. This is free. I've had this portal for a very long time. Okay, here, populated. I've had this portal for at least 5 years. So there's a single owner, Jill. All right. We're going to pull the tax records on this. So you're like, hey, you got a seller on do not do this if you've never talked to the seller, by the way. If you don't even know if it's a deal, if you've never talked to the seller. I do this if I talk to the seller and the seller's like, hey, yes, I'm interested in selling. So I go and I look at this. All right. Technology has gotten so much better these days, let me tell you. Okay. Except for yesterday when the power goes out. So if you can see here, there's the owner's name. It's owner occupied. That means they live there. This is the mailing address, so they live there. The legal description. So here's the thing. Texas is a non-disclosure state, meaning that if you buy a property, they do not have to disclose how much they bought the property for. In California, it's public record. So if I bought the property for $550,000, it will show $550,000, period. Texas, I didn't know it was a non-disclosure state, and now we know. And now typically I can see it in this format though, which is kind of cool. So I go into the tax records. I look at it to see if it's even something that's worth my time. I look at the mortgage because I need to know how much. I can ask the seller how much they owe, and typically they'll tell me, but I want to verify it. One thing about real estate, you want to trust everything, but you want to verify it, because here's my saying. You ready for this? My saying goes, sellers are liars and buyers are worse. Okay? They all lie. It's just the name of the game. Real estate is like that. All right. So I look at all of this. And then I love this because this pulls direct this is like when you do comping, you're supposed to do apples and apples, not apples and oranges. They can't be different. This pulls literally apples and apples. This is why I love it, because it will literally pull the very similar comp to the area, and it's all up to date. All right. Everything that's sold in the last, looks like year almost. Maybe it didn't turn very well. Anyway, so this is comps, comparables, CMAs is what they call them. And then we have okay, this is what I want. Transaction history. So what happened with the property, right? Sales history. She purchased the property and she paid $504,000. The previous person paid $345,000. Isn't that why we love real estate? Because in 10 years you can make 6 figures and you didn't do anything. Nothing. All right. So, first mortgage. So she bought it for 504. So she put almost 6 figures down. So she probably put a 20% down payment on it. So it says loan type conventional. So she had to put, sometimes conventional, they do 10%, but in this case, she did about 20% down. And she leveraged $382,000. Actually, she went in. Well, okay, hold on. This one, she put, is that 10%? No, I don't think so. Yeah, it's about, let's see. No. So she put about 20% down, okay, but then she refinanced it and got a lower mortgage amount. Maybe she got lower payments or whatnot, or she probably wanted to take advantage of 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020. The interest rates went down. So she probably wanted to take advantage of that, which was smart on her part. All right. So, see, here's what happened in 20. Yeah, let's see if we can see it. No. But this is the reason why we had a big blow up in 2008, 2007, 2008 is because we had something called adjustable rates, and they call them subprime mortgages, where the rate would go up and then eventually the person couldn't afford the payment, and it basically, the government went boop. They pulled a string and everything went sideways, right? So that's the subprime mortgages. Everyone's like, well, we're going to see another crash here, but we don't have the same loans that we had back in the day. That's not what happened. So people are like, well, I'm nervous that we're going to see a decrease. I think we might see maybe an adjustment, but I don't see it popping like it did in 2007, 2008. There's laws now that lenders can't do certain things. So there's a lot of stuff that protects the consumer. So are we going to see a bust? I don't see it happening, to be honest. I don't see it. I think they're trying to, but I don't see it happening. She took out a second. Oh, the previous owner took out a second mortgage on the property. She was probably really over leveraged in 2007. She was probably really, really over leveraged. So that's the reason why I like this particular. I like that there's a portal. It's free for me, right? It's free. And I just need to make friends with the title company. And then if I get a deal under contract, I go to that particular title company and give them business. That's what they want. That's why they give you a portal, is for them to get your business. So I love title companies. You can get lists from title companies for free. If you're just starting and you don't want to spend a bunch of money, you can go directly to a title escrow agent and say, hey, I'm a new investor wanting to get started. Do you guys provide lists, pre-foreclosure or expired? Tomorrow, I will probably pull an expired list and call from an expired list. All right. Financial and wealth advisors. I actually met a financial advisor at BNI, I think they call it. Still talk to him to this day. They definitely have some clients. These guys can have clients that will have private money lenders a lot of the time. Did you know, I learned this recently, probably in the last 6 months. Did you know that there are consulting companies that just raised money for property deals? You can actually say, hey, well, they don't do it on a small scale. They do it on a big scale. They say, okay, you want $50 million. We'll go raise it and we'll take a percentage of what we raise, but we have all the contacts essentially, and they can invest it into the property. So there's actual companies out there that will help you raise money once you get obviously you need to get a little bit bigger than just single family and stuff like that, but you can get it to where it's like somebody else is raising money for you essentially. Direct to lender, a lot of the time when you are in the business and networking and going to the networking events, you will find a lot of lenders that want to work with agents, obviously, and they want to work with you as an investor because everybody gets paid when you use them as the lender. So what I will say is that you can get referrals from lenders. For instance, I have a lender that I've been working with for the last 7 years. He made it happen on one of the deals, and so I just go back to him every single time. We're currently actually in a refinance with this particular lender. He's out of California. I've been using him for the last 7 years, and I love him, and I'm scared to go to anybody else. And I know that if he has a client that needs a property in Texas, he will refer that client to me, which is pretty cool. Closers, you need closers on your team, right? You need someone who's going to close the deal. That's the only way to move, to have any type of business. You're going to need the person that brings in the lead, but you need someone to close them. You need to find their pain points. Why did I name this Finding the Groundhogs? Is because you need to find a motivated seller. A closer's job is to find the motivation, which in turn is probably you talking to the seller. You need to find the motivation. Why is this person wanting to sell? If there's no motivation, you need to move on to the next person. There's so many times I see people get caught up like, oh my God, can we make this work or make this happen? But here's the thing. This business has nothing to do with houses, properties. I don't even look at the property. If there's no motivation for the seller, I don't go to the next steps. I need to get on the phone with the seller to make sure that there's actual motivation. If there is no motivation, I don't want to look at the property. I don't want to analyze the property if there's no motivation. All right. Motivation is a lot of things. People think that motivation comes from money. Some people just want out of the property. They don't want any money. They just want this headache to be gone and they don't want any money. Take it off my hands. I've had that happen. This guy, actually, I bought a property on subject to, and we can go through that in California. He's like, I don't really want any money. I want to go to the Philippines and I want to be with my bride. They were trying to short sell his house. Instead of short selling, we actually took over the 2% loan that was on it and started paying the payments and became the owners. So he was motivated because he wanted to go be with his wife in the Philippines. We called her a mail ordered bride. But he didn't want necessarily the money. He wanted to be done with the property. He wasn't going to make any money anyways because they were going to try to short sell the property. So he already knew he didn't have any equity in the property. All right. All right. So if there's no motivation, the closer's job is to find the motivation. That is the number one thing. Partnering. All right. Y'all aren't going to like what I have to say about partnering. I've had some good partners. I've had one solid partner that is amazing. Never have had one argument, nothing. Great. I've had partners that have definitely screwed me over. That is a fact. Unfortunately, it happens. Partnering, you got to be very careful. It's like dating almost. You have to kind of make sure that you are partnering with the right people. Okay. And for me, there has to be a lot of things in place in order to be somebody's partner, to be going into business with that person. There has to be a lot. Now, will I wholesale something with somebody? Absolutely, all day. All day I would, but if I'm long term going into a business with somebody, that's a whole different story, okay? If I'm holding the property for 30 years for the rest of my life and my children might get the money from when I pass away from these properties, then that person, it's really have to be vetted and everything has to be square. If I'm doing wholesaling, I will do wholesaling with partners all day. Fix and flips, I would do partners all day because it's a quick transaction. If it's a long-term hold, it's a different story. All right. So be careful who you choose your partner. Have things in place. But I will say, if you can't trust them without paperwork, then you can't trust them with paperwork. All right. I do believe that 100%. The only thing you have in real estate is your reputation, number one. And number two, the other thing is that you have your reputation. She's like the bad cockroach that won't go away. She's never like this. I don't know what her problem is. Number one, you have your reputation, and number two is you have your reputation. If you can't trust the person, number one is reputation, number two is being trustworthy. And there's a lot of people in real estate that aren't trustworthy. Why is that? Because there's a lot of money floating around. And when people get money, you get the money in hands of the wrong people, people go sideways on you. All right. My reputation is not worth any amount of money. Like, if somebody gave me $1 billion tomorrow, but I would lose my reputation, my reputation to me is worth more than that. 100%. Because here's the thing, I can always get $1 billion. I cannot get my reputation back. All right. And we all talk. We all know each other. Real estate investors are a very close circle of people. We all know each other. We all talk. I was just talking about an investor the other day that didn't pay back any of the money to their investors. We all know each other. All right. It's already almost 6:00. Okay, so website SEO, you can definitely get traction there. You're getting a very cold lead, right? How do you warm them up? It's a continuous follow-up and you have to build that relationship. Website SEO, I don't really recommend it, to be honest with you, because it's money. If you're brand new in this business, there's no like backbone to a website SEO. You'll just keep spending money and hopefully you get leads. Maybe not. You just never know. Here's my connector. Okay, become a connector. What is a connector? Right now, I feel like I've kind of graduated to being a connector. People come to me and they say, hey, we have this property deal. Maybe I can connect them to a private money lender. Maybe, but if I connect them to my private money lender, like, I'm in the deal, obviously, guys. Like, I'm not just giving away my private money lender. So maybe I connect them. Maybe I have a deal and I need somebody to connect me to somebody else. A connector's job is to network. So this is a true story. I was listening to this podcast and they were saying that this guy went into a networking event and said, "Hey, what do you need help with your business? Is there something like usually like a lot of time you ask the people like, "Hey, what's your pain point right now?" Right? It's like, "Hey, I need $1 million to do this land deal." And then he's like, "Okay." So he literally in the middle of the networking event found somebody who needed $1 million, who had $1 million and needed a place to park their $1 million. Why? Because they were selling a property, they were trying to 1031 exchange, and their 1031 exchange was running out. So if you know anything about 1031 exchanges, you know that you have a limited time to find another property to put your money, or you will pay taxes on it. So he was trying to find a connector. He was trying to find $1 million, and literally they were standing in the same room together and they had no idea. But the person who connected the two, they got money from it. They got a 3%. They were in it for 3% for the rest of their life. They still get paid on it to this day just by connecting the two. There's no money, there's no nothing. No, all you did was connect the two together. That's it. Become a connector. Go out and network and become a connector. I found I was always trying to figure out how I found the guy with the trust, and I can't remember. And I wish I did. So I found a guy who has like hundreds of millions of dollars in a trust. I never met him one time, not once. Never met him. And I would say that they loaned me money, never met me. So it's possible. He never checked my credit. He never checked my job history, nothing. So the guy who loaned me all that money, I never met him in person. I just had multiple phone conversations with him. All right. I am going to try to wrap this up by 6 o'clock. So whatever I don't finish, I will finish tomorrow. Referrals are the best thing. I mean, referrals are probably the number one thing that you want in business, is because you know you did a good job at something and you want a referral. I would say that when you're first getting started, this is not where you're going to find any deals, right? Maybe it might be somebody like in your network that will refer business to you, but a lot of the time they want to see you doing stuff before they're going to refer business to you. So referrals are great, but you have to be in business for a very long time for people to trust you and want to do business with you. Bird dogs. There was a guy back in the day when I first got started. He was technically a bird dog. He then called himself a groundhog. So that's a little bit of why this is called Groundhog. I made it into a groundhog because it reminds me of him. His name was Derek. He's still alive. His name is Derek. I call him a groundhog because he knew about all the deals that were happening. If there was a deal happening, he knew about it. He knew all the private money lenders. He knew everything. Why wasn't Derek sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate? One reason. He wasn't educated. He didn't know how to put the deal together. Bird dogs are like below, technically, they're below the wholesalers. Bird dogs are just finding deals, and they get not even like they get a referral fee for referring the deal. That's the hardest job. Finding the deal is the hardest thing. So they should get paid. But here's the problem with bird dogs. They don't want to learn anything. Don't be a bird dog. Learn everything about real estate in order for you to do the fix and flip, in order for you to do the buy and hold, to do creative financing, to do all of it. So become a bird dog at first, but don't stay in that position. It's not a fun position to be in. The local RIA meetings, I would say this is the reason why I've been so consistent and done real estate, is because I went to all of the local meetings every single week. I probably went to like 2 or 3 a week if I could make it. I at least went at least to 1 a week. So that's 4 times to a local RIA meeting. Now, I would say I do more stuff like I'm starting to do everything online so I don't have to go and drive, and COVID kind of made that a little bit different for me. But now I can just do live streaming and kind of hold my own meetings. But if you are brand new in this business, you should put your name out there and you should be going to local RIA meetings. I have been to a lot of them here in Houston. I don't love them. I just don't find what I'm looking for in those meetings. So that's why I created this online platform, is because I'm looking for what this platform is going to be, essentially. All right. We have 2 more. I'm going to get through these 2 and then we are going to adios off of this. But we do have a lot on transaction coordinator. We do have a lot to cover tomorrow as well. I might be calling some leads tomorrow. I'm going to show you how to pull a list, all that good stuff. So one of the last ones is working for someone. And this is actually kind of how I got started, I would say. I worked for somebody for free. For all those people who come to me and want stuff, I'm telling you, I can't stand those people. If you come to me in my DMs and you're trying to do X, Y, and Z, I won't even respond to you. And this is the reason. Because I worked for free for 6 months, probably a year. I sold my car for $8,500 and I lived off of that money. I don't have children, so that does help. And I was living with my father at the time, so that helps. But I sold my car and I was all in on this business. And I worked for free for 6 months to a year. And I got my first deal within 4 months. 4 months it took me to learn everything. But I was learning every single day. I bought education and I was learning every single day. And people underestimate working for somebody for free. Because I didn't know anybody who did real estate investing. Did you guys know anybody who does real estate investing? Because I didn't know anybody. My parents don't come from real estate. I don't come from a real estate background. So I had to find somebody who had that. And in order to do that, the guy wouldn't pay. It's not that he wouldn't pay me. I didn't really ask for it. I wanted to learn. I told my dad this. I said, the education that I'm getting is invaluable to me right now, because working for somebody like that is fixing and flipping and doing the stuff that I want to do, that's going to be so invaluable to me and has carried me through for the last 7 to 8 years because I worked for free. Am I telling you like go out and work for someone for free? No, but you can't. I mean, like, you can go out and work for somebody and they can pay you and you work with them. So it's 2 different things. I mean, it's instead of working for free, you can actually get paid for doing it. I just know the guy couldn't afford it, number 1. And number 2, I created I created my own job in the company. Like, there was no like job that was there. I would call him up and I would say, "Hey, what are you doing today?" And he would go, well, I'm going to this meeting." I'm like, "Why did you not invite me to this meeting?" He goes, "Well, I didn't know you wanted to be a part of it." I was like, "I want to be a part of everything that you do." And then eventually we actually started to partner on deals. He brought me in as a partner. That's how valuable I became to him. He brought me in as a 50% partner in everything he did. All right. So working for somebody, just because you start working for someone, is not a bad thing. You got to learn somewhere. You got to experience stuff and experience it on somebody else's watch. So you can make the mistakes and you don't have to pay for them. It's a lot easier that way. But that's also like being a transaction coordinator, getting paid on every single transaction. That's working for somebody, but you're working for someone who's doing real estate deals. All right. The last one, I'm going to make it to 6. This is a lot to do it for 2 hours. I underestimated how much energy this takes to do for 2 hours. All right. So, and I feel like I'm talking to myself the whole time because nobody's messaging me. So I don't even like, I'm literally feel like I'm talking to myself. All right. The last one is social media. I will say that I do social media to get new investors. That is my target market. I don't necessarily do social media to find a seller. That's going to be extremely hard to do, to try to find someone who's selling their house based off of your social media post. Okay. So, social media is for me to find new students or new investors that want to do real estate investing. That is the reason why I do social media. Who want to learn, who want to do different things. So, we will pick back up tomorrow. Oops. Ooh, ooh. Tomorrow we are going to go through self-directed IRAs. You're like, Claire, you just went through 2 hours of stuff. We did some basic stuff today. I wanted to make sure you guys understand this is very basic, but this does apply to people who are getting started in residential or commercial. You need leads. If you don't have leads, you don't have a business. And I need better internet. I don't know what is going on with my internet. Okay. So we're going to go through lead generation again. We're going to go through pulling a list, motivated sellers, and self-directed IRAs, where you can actually, how do you tell someone how to self-direct an IRA in order to invest into one of your property deals? That's very important. All right. The pros and cons of working with agents, we kind of went through that today, but we'll go through that tomorrow. And then maybe the last 30 minutes to an hour. So we'll probably do 2 hours again. So I'm going to shorten these. 2 hours, we're going to go through, I will get on the phone and start calling people. What we didn't go through on the third day is comping properties. So we will do that next time on the challenge. There will be a challenge when I come back, which is the 21st, 22nd, 23rd of June. So we will be doing these every single month, and hopefully we'll just keep growing, right? That's the goal. Even though we don't have that many people on, there's going to be a lot of people that come on later on down the line. So, got to start somewhere, guys. You have to start somewhere. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. That was a lot at once. And we will catch you guys at 4 p.m. tomorrow, Central Standard Time. I will be here and we will be going through a lot more stuff. So stick around. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.